That was just exquisite. Thank you so much. Well, today's a special day. That reading from Damien, it was from the Dora Lectures by Thomas Troward. How many here have studied Troward in one way, shape, or form, whether you wanted to or not? Quite a few hands, quite a few hands. He can be challenging, but you know, he was called the Great Troward in London by people. And he published the Dora Lectures in 1909. Now that's over 100 years ago. Such magnificent way with words. And when I gave Damien the quote, he said, I bet it's all one sentence too. Because that's sometimes how Troward was. You have this big paragraph and there's no breathing room. So you always have to break it down into what he was really trying to say. But magnificent man. But at that time in New York City in 1909, there was a lady by the name of Genevieve Barrand. And she came across Troward's writings after her husband died, and she was very, very depressed, and she was looking for spiritual help. And she memorized that paragraph. And she said it over and over and over and over again, and she found her life changing. She found happiness returning. She found lightness. Let go of the sadness. And as she accepted it and believed it was true, it came to pass. Now we know how powerful that is, don't we? She wrote in her books, surely the divine could not change its inherent nature. And since divine life is operating in me, I must be divinely inhabited. And the divine in me must operate just as it operates the whole universe. So my life will ultimately become a world of contentment and enjoyment as soon as I am able to control my thought and provide a concrete center around which the divine energy will flow. That's awesome. Concrete. How often are your desires concrete? That tells me a lot. No. But can you imagine that? A desire so concrete that the divine energy flows with that and flows around that. It's called creative confidence. Miss Barron then decided she would obtain enough money, get this, to travel to England and study with Thomas Troward. At that time, she knew it would take $20,000. So every night in her bedroom, she would count out 20 $1,000 bills in her mind. And then she would draw pictures of her walking up the gangplank of the steamer ship. And then she drew pictures of her walking up and down the deck. And then she drew pictures of her studying with Troward. And within 6 weeks, she had her $20,000. Huge. In 1912, she bought her ticket. Now, she had been sending Thomas Troward letter after letter after letter. I'm coming over, I'm going to study with you, and he ignored all of it. So you can imagine the concrete desire she had in her heart when she bought her ticket and got on that steamer to go to England, and he had never said he would meet with her. Isn't that amazing? That's such confidence. So even when she got to England, she kept writing him letters, and he never answered them until one day she got a note. And it only had this in it. What is the meaning of the 16th verse in the 21st chapter of Revelation? That was it. She had no idea. You're aching to know what that is, aren't you? I'm not going to tell you. So she went around all of London asking people what that meant, and nobody knew. So she went to an astrologer, the best astrologer of the times, in 1912. And she asked him to read her horoscope because she couldn't figure out why Troward was just being this way. And the astrologer was thinking about it, not sure if he wanted to do it, until his cat, who never approached a stranger, jumped in her lap. And he went, "It must be a sign that my cat is stating your case. I need to help you." So at that point, she said, "I better ask him the question." So she said, "Do you know the meaning of the 16th verse of the 21st chapter of Revelation?" And he said, "Of course." Now, I'll tell you what it was, because I know your age now. Read the verse when you get home. But here's the answer. It talks about a city. The city signifies the truth, and the truth is non-invertible. Every side from which you approach it is exactly the same. She telegraphed that to Troward, and he said, "Come and be my student." Isn't that interesting? So she was a student of his for 2 years, 1912 to 1914. And after she returned to New York, she started a New Thought school. That's creative confidence. She believed that the life spark, which brought into her life something new, was happening, and it did. And I just love that story. And I didn't know it until Friday. I've been working on this talk all week, and it was feeling kind of lame. And I thought, okay, change the subject, start pulling off books off the bookshelf to give to the used book sale. And I saw this little spine and didn't have anything on it. I thought, what is that book? So, oh, Your Invisible Power. Yeah. And I opened it, and it was, of course, it won't open to the right page today, but and it opened to how I became the personal pupil of the greatest mental scientist of the present day. And I went, oh, that's right, it was Troward's student. I sat down and I read the whole book. I went, oh, there's my talk. Creative Confidence. It's a wonderful book. Abe Books in Portland. It's hard to find, but Abe Books always has it. So today you are probably occasionally, like me, occasionally feeling frustrated about how fast everything is going, feeling frustrated about what is happening and what's going on. And we know what we really want to experience, but we need to stop occasionally and try and cement those desires of what we want to experience in our mind. Because if we don't, we just keep getting busy and forgetting about our desires. We're going to take a life that is just potluck, anything that comes along. And we'll have that yearning and that desire, but we ourselves aren't embedding the teaching and cementing that in the nature of the laws of the universe. Well, as you know, this was the week that Reverend David took off to go to his new assignment in Center for Spiritual Living, Olympia, Washington. And thanks to your vote of confidence, Reverend Sue and I are now co-senior ministers, and all that entails. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's just too much. But this was the first week. Not that I haven't been around forever. It's just like the first official week. And what an adrenaline rush. Oh my gosh, things didn't stop. 6:30 in the morning, I'm on my computer at home. I'm writing things to get here. And if you ever walked into Reverend David's office, he bequeathed me all his papers. At one point, Lori walked in and said, if you put one more paper on your desk, it's going to collapse. So it was quite a trip with that alone, but then I'm the co-chair of the ethics committee for our parent organization internationally, and we had a big case that we were settling, and so I was on that. And then Sue flies off to the San Juan Islands doing a women's retreat, and and I know she's in bliss. So I facilitated her practitioner class on Thursday, and for the first half hour, I knew they could care less if I was there. They were doing everything perfectly. It was like, wow, that was wonderful. Brilliant practitioners we've got coming up for graduation. I'm Very excited. Then I had meetings with board members, doing practitioners, and it goes on, and it's an amazing position. And so I really needed something to kickstart my creative consciousness, and lo and behold, I got 3 kicks in the butt. Well, 3 kickstarts. There was a webinar offered by one of the premier ministers in our my mind's a blank, in our movement, that's a good word. It was called The Art of Assimilation. And it was really refreshing because he said this is tried and true, because he's very successful. And it's for fairly new people who were trying to get interested in this philosophy because we know it's so helpful. And what we usually do is we say, oh, we teach the science of mind, and we have all these principles, and we have all these practices, and we have all this, and Ernest Holmes, and he's so great. He said, it's totally wrong, totally wrong. I said to myself, thank goodness it wasn't a direct communication with the webinar, but I said to myself, we've been doing this for years. It's all wrong. Sue, where are you, He said it's typical for us to do that, and it's the wrong approach. And my mind wanted to argue. If he'd have been there, he had got an earful. As I said, there's so much more than that, than the philosophy, than the principles and the lingo. We love our lingo. And it came to me in that instant that we're in the love business. We're helping people find greater love and happiness. And we're in the spirit business. We're helping people evolve spiritually on their own path, no matter what path that is. We're in the tune-up business because we help people tune up the qualities of peace, power, beauty, and joy in their life. We're in the healing business because we help heal hearts that have been hurt. We're in the seeing business because we see the presence of God everywhere. What a great experience that is. We're in the feeling business. We feel the grace of God's love. We're in the teaching business, learning about the natural laws of the universe. And we're in the creation business, using the power of affirmative prayer, setting it in concrete, setting those desires to a place where the universe can do something with that. All this is true, but he kept saying, The first order of business is to find out what people are looking for. What is it that they want to improve in their life? And that's our business. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. I get it. And then I started looking at all our literature, and we were all wrong. We all come through the door with some desire to improve, whether it's relationships, abundance, health, creativity. Some of us come in just because we want a more personal relationship with God. So he's right. Our number one business is to help you get what you want. Now that energizes me. That feels really good. So when I looked at our literature, with the Sunday program, we have the principles on the back, and got to get rid of that. The program insert, full backside, small print, everything everyone know about everything. Got to redo that. The Quick Start class for new people. Oh, no. That's gone. And our website, I started looking at our website and went, everything you said we were doing wrong is on the front page. It was like, oh, Sue, where are you? So we made an attempt. Lori and Sylvia and I got together, and when we work together and brainstorm together, it's like magic happens. And so what you have in your hands this morning is our first rendition of a new program that's simple, easy to read, and hopefully is inspiring to you, especially if you're fairly new. It'll evolve over time. So magic is happening. So my second kickstart for the week was when someone from our congregation came to me to share what he learned that inspired him from Reverend David's talk last Sunday. He went out of that talk uplifted, inspired, and he wanted to share the power of using the power of intention to live a fulfilled life as best we can. He hadn't heard that before. You know, sometimes you say it just the right way and people get it, and you've been saying it for a long time. Taking the joy he got from these Sunday mornings home and tending to the business of his life from that point of view. Powerful. Discovering his growing edge. Didn't know he had one. And asking Spirit to reveal to him how to exercise his muscles of creativity. I thought that was really sweet. So these are awesome and inspiring things that someone who's been coming for a while just recognized, and it really touched me a lot. So I was on my way back to positive creativity and positive thinking until I got the third kickstart. And that was at Reverend Sue's practitioner class that I was so-called facilitating. One of the reading assignments was in this great book, this thing called You. If you haven't read it, you'll underline half of every page. Fantastic book. Fantastic book. Each one of these tidbits I'm going to offer you can be a whole talk, so I just want to share the flavor of what I got from the practitioner reading, and maybe we'll do those talks in the future. And the first point is never imitate. Be your true self. Trust yourself and trust that small voice within, which my husband reminded me is sometimes the loud 2x4 voice, if we're not paying attention. Don't fight the opinions of others because what you resist persists. That's a big one these days. So many people are fighting something, war on something, trashing each other. Don't fight the opinions of others. Don't fight your fears, see through them. There's nothing to be afraid of, believe me. There's nothing to be afraid of. And lose your littleness. Sometimes we play too little. I know I do it myself. I'm always putting Sue first on everything we write. It's like, let me hide a little bit. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Do lose your littleness because we're made in the image and likeness of God. I mean, how good can that be? Something in us is worthy of immortality and eternal expansion. And that's the greatest news to me because I'm an avid reader of all the old studies, and I just love learning. I love science, and to know that it's not going to end with this life is really exciting. Now, I knew that, but when you hear it again and again, and it clicks, and you go, oh yes, that's right, I forgot. So I feel refreshed, and that's the good part. So then sweet things started to happen. We have these little, if I can find one here, these little slips of paper outside our office door, and it says, got time? Here's something we really need some help with if you have some time. People started coming in, pulling these down and getting things done. It was like, oh, hallelujah. Because there's only so many hours in a week. So that was really exciting. Then Nadine came in, and we had a plethora of wonderful bunch of donations for People of Progress and Shoes for Souls, and it was coming out into the aisle, and we just emptied those bins last week, and she said, hey, you want me to take that in? It was like, yes, thank you so much. Yeah, it was gone. It was gone. It was gone. It was wonderful because they need they need those materials. And in case you're wondering what People of Progress really needs for summer, food for families with children, peanut butter, crackers, all kinds of stuff. We have it on the list out there. Their food bank is an oasis in Reading. All right. Genevieve wrote in books she wrote after she came back from Troward, you are a law unto yourself. You and every one of you are the physical instruments through which the natural laws that God created operate. Each one of us is the means through which the creative process is carried out. So I invite you to take her advice. Light up your desires. See if that desire is strong enough in you to settle it like concrete and let the divine spirit play with it. And if it's not, find one that is. Because I know you want to enjoy life. I know you want to enjoy the connection with spirit, with God, with each other. And so when you continue to focus on your desires, it clears, and I guess it evolves into a mental picture. I have a desire, it evolves into a mental picture like David's desk is gone. No. And then when it's a mental picture, just like Genevieve, she drew a picture of her walking up the gangplank onto the ship, walking the deck, meeting Troward. One of my deep desires right now is I would like to see us start doing, own it myself, online classes for the greater community, for anyone who wants to watch. And I want people to come here from the general population to learn more about leadership skills, all kinds of lifelong learning skills. And so it's starting to manifest with the flat screen TV we have back there and the cart, and we have a DVD player and a laptop, and we're going to start using it in summer classes, and we're going to evolve from there. And I give great thanks to Chris Johnson, who put that cart together, because it came from China in a lot of pieces, and he's so good at that. He's so good at that. But this is already starting to manifest, and I'm so excited about it. And so the more enthusiasm and joy you put into those desires, the easier the natural laws of the universe have to play with them. So right now I'm really grateful for Reverend Lord's, Mark Anthony Lord is his name, juicy name, his webinar. And I'm really grateful to Mark Petty, who came in and shared what he learned and embodied from Reverend David's talk. And I'm so grateful. I know Sue's loving the San Juans, but I'm really grateful to have been in that practitioner class, rereading this thing called You. And then Genevieve, I mean, how amazing that she fell into my lap on Friday, and she made this whole talk come together. So it was a real grace-filled week for the first week, and I'm really looking forward to many, many more weeks like that with you. So let's pray about that. You know, I want to say, yay, God. Yay, God. So many great things happening. And it's the hearts in this room that are just welling up with joy and excitement about our own individual desires and how we can help them manifest in your life. This is the joy of this teaching and the support we give each other along the way. In gratitude for all those things we love to talk about, Ernest Holmes, Science of Mind, our principles, you know, it comes later, it comes when you're ready. And when you're ready, it too will open your mind. And so it's all unfolding perfectly. And in incredible gratitude, I let this whole day and these words and everything said and felt evolve so beautifully in each life here. Thank you, Spirit. And so it is. Wow.